In the world of NRL fantasy, things change very quickly. 4 weeks ago, we all had a bunch of Parramatta players. Last week, they were on a bye for round 9, and you probably didn't have many left. Let's jump right into it, though. Round 9, we're coming into a week where Canberra are on a bye next week, too. So just keep an eye on that when we get to that team. But first things first, South Sydney and the Panthers. And this was a close game. South Sydney were up early on, and then Penrith did what Penrith do. Luke Garner, big score. I'm going to ignore him because Sorensen will be back pretty soon. Dylan Alberts, 69 points here, 6.7% owned, a 57 average. He has been that guy as far as wing fullbacks go. If you're on Dylan Edwards, you are very happy. Isaiah Yeo, 66 points here, 71 minutes in this game, so not the full 80 minutes that you hope for, but again, he's been on fire, 64 average. The issue is Origin coming up very soon. Brad Schneider just keeps on performing when he comes into play, so that's a 52 average, but Cleary will be back very soon. Cody Walker, 56 points. He's very interesting. So at 449K, 32-point break even as well. He will be around that sort of 470K mark this week. But Cody Walker could be a value option if you did want a big pod in the halves. Taylor May, if you have 522K, he's got 51 points. There's a big try in that performance. So I'm not overreading into this, but at the same time, if you wanted to gamble, we've been talking about him all year. He's been a bit disappointing, but he does have a lot of talent. Cam Murray, 6 to 8 weeks, really rough go for him. Then down the list, Damien Cook played a bit of fullback in this game, played everywhere. 36 points wasn't great, but he's getting nice and cheap for us as well. And then rocking down the list, nothing too crazy to talk about. Hawkins is out for a while. He played all right while he was in. Tungo had a really quiet game, had a sin bin in this one as well. He's going to get really cheap. He's also out for a week. Jai Gray as well. He is gone for quite a while with an injury there too. So yeah, quite a few injuries in that one, which is not what we want to see. We just want to see our opponent's players scoring poorly without injury. That's what we pray for. Next one, Seagulls and the Raiders. This is a big one. Elliot Whitehead, rampaging, 2 tries. Do I think he's a pod? No. But at the same time, good on him. He's a bit of a weapon. Ruben Garrick, a couple of tries, 66 points in this game. He's up to 11.6% ownership. We've been very high on him recently, but the fixtures do get tougher now. So just keep an eye on that. KO Weeks, he's the goal kicker. He scored a try, 57 points, an average of 49.5 in his 2 games. He's been on fire. If you don't have KO Weeks yet, get him after their bye because he is red hot. DCE, the window is closing on this, obviously, because of Origin. Same with Tommy Turbo. I expect he will play Origin as well. So if you got them, hang on, enjoy. But if you don't, then yeah. Morgan Smithies, we'll talk about this a bit this week, but the minutes are a bit better. So 51 points in 72 minutes. I think he's a hold. Middle is a very tough spot for us right now. So he's a guy that I'm going to be holding on to 100%. Nick Kotrick, if you hold on to him, 38 points is nice. He's had seasons where he's averaged 38, so he could easily jump back to that. Ethan Strange, 35 points. I think that Strange is not quite a top tier keeper at center, but for 446K, I think he's worth holding through this buy. So as it stands right now, I'm going to be holding Ethan Strange. But plenty of people are going to be talking about selling him as well. So you just have to look at what works for your team. But for me, he's a hold. Corey Waddell, 20 points, quite a game. He had some money-making weeks previously, but has really cooled off in this one. And down the list, Xavier Savage. I don't know if you were looking at him, but a few were talking about him early on. 7 points. That is the downside of a guy like him, where he's so explosive in attack, but kind of a quieter game in terms of the base stats in particular. Now, Chookies and Broncos, and this was a big game. If you had a couple of Chooks, you were very happy here. Gus Crichton's the first one. He's on my side, 97 points, absolute beast. I'm sure we've all got him. He was my vice captain, so I was quietly hoping that, maybe there might be a late change of someone being rested or something like that. But nope, he's there as vice captain. Connor Watson, 91 points. He's filling in for Victor Radley right now. Can he maintain this? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's going to be pretty tough for him to maintain these sorts of scores, but at the same time, he is an absolute weapon. And then we've got dogs here. Sorry, guys, a little interruption. James Tedesco, 72 points. Now, he's going well. He's averaging 46 now. Teddy's at 570K, so he's a good price. The issue is that he probably is that New South Wales fullback. But at the same time, we do have a new coach in town, so maybe they do change that. It's uncertain. I mean, Dylan Edwards is in really good form, but I think Teddy's been good as well. So he's a guy on my side as well that I'm sort of sitting on here. Terrell May, 68 points, scored 2 tries in the week that everyone traded him out. What a tease. Good on him for playing good footy, but what a tease. That is brutal for all us coaches who sold him off. And look, I'm feeling all right about selling him, by the way, because they've got a few players coming back very soon. So you got Lenu coming back, you got Radley coming back, and you have Jared Warrior Hargraves coming back all in the next week or so. So I think he'll be fine. Then Reece Walsh, 30 points, bit of a quieter game for him. Look, he's one of those guys, very much an attacking stats sort of player. So you're going to have to cop some of those ones. Reynolds is out for about 3 months, which is really tough. If you have him, you're going to have to sell him. There will be opportunities there. Cobbo, 13 points, really quiet one here. He's going to get a bit cheaper as well. And then obviously Jesse Arthur's copped an injury too for about 6 weeks. So if you've got Jesse Arthur's, he's a sell now as well. Doggies and the Tigers, and this is a bit of a quieter one for fantasy points. Look, Viliame Kikau, he's been in good form lately. It's another 62-point game. John Bateman, when he plays lock, he averages about 60 points a game. 57 here is pretty nice. We'll see if he holds that spot. That's the risk, right? Because he is a better edge back rower than he is a lock in real life, in my view. I think just that creativity lends itself more to the edge. But for the Tigers, they've got Finu, who is a great young edge back rower. So they might keep this going. Simpkin, he filled in for Coruscant, who was a late pullout. 57 points is great. Simpkin's a goer, but Coruscant's going to be back next week, I would expect, if not the week after. And then a few other guys here. Finu, 44 points, played 80 minutes. This is very exciting. So if you need a middle, I like Finu a lot. Down the list, Galvin, bit of a quieter game, 39 points. Look, I'm fine with that. For Galvin, he's going to have those big games, those sort of quieter games. As long as the quiet games are 35 plus, we can live with it. Jamin Salmon, if you're a Salmon owner and you started him, you got very, very lucky this week. I will say that because Jacob Preston, he was on the bench there. He could have easily stolen a lot of minutes from Salmon. He didn't, luckily. So I think next week that will happen. If you have Salmon, I'd be selling him very quickly. And then down the list, nothing too crazy to report down here. Isaiah Papali, 60 minutes, 22 points. That is a disaster. He's going to get very cheap, and I'll be looking at him in about a month's time. And then Seyfarth. Mate, what a roller coaster for fantasy, isn't it? Alex Seyfarth, 2 points. That's rough. If you started him, my sincerest apologies to you. All right, Titans and the Storm, and this is always a close game. Always a high-scoring close game. Always a good time. Dave Fafita, he just keeps on rolling here. So 64-point average, 75-point game. Absolutely on fire. Look at the stats here. Basically no real attacking stats. So you've got the 27 tackles, no misses, 15 tackle breaks, 3 offloads to hand, and 110 meters run. That is actually disastrously efficient. Like, you throw on a couple of attacking stats, and he's at 100 plus. I don't know if we look. The issue is he's probably going to play Origin. So Tino's out for Queensland. That they're missing a few guys. You know, Capewell, he's been a bit in and out. He was a bit injured over the weekend. I think Fafita plays Origin, but if he didn't play Origin, jumping on that early would have been a very smart move. Brimson's another one, 59 points here. He's been in very good form for the Titans. He's about a 44 average when he plays fullback. He's doing much better than that right now, though, so good on him. Jamin Jolliffe, 55 points in 64 minutes. He just keeps on pumping that roll. He went from 0.9% owned to 3% owned last week. I think he might jump again in the ownership stakes. So it's just the issue. The issue is he's getting more expensive, right? So you're going to have to pay more and more for him for the same thing. Harry Grant, 52 points. He really got outshone by Robson this week. And they're sort of the two guys that most of us have. Sean Bloor, 73 minutes, 43 points. You can live with that. It's not blowing anyone away, but it's decent. Ryan Pappenhausen, he was absolutely killing it, and just unfortunately copped a re-injury to his ankle. He'll be out for about 6 weeks, so 4 to 6 weeks. But yeah, if you have him, you got to sell him basically. It's a shame because he was absolutely on fire in this game, and he's really killing it for fantasy and for himself as well. And he's the kind of guy where, you know, when Pappenhausen's playing well, you watch the Storm play, right? Because you want to watch him play, even just outside of fantasy. So hopefully he comes back all good as soon as possible. Then Eli Katoa, 33 points. My boy, I've been riding the highs when he scores 70 plus and riding the lows when he has some of these games. Look, the average is still 52, so I'm not fussing too much about this. But, you know, when you're an overall coach, you can sort of ride those highs and lows. Whereas if you're a head-to-head player, you might want someone more consistent. Jerome Hughes, I think he picked up a bit of an injury in this game, so just keep an eye on that. He might be out potentially. So Longo didn't finish the game. He filled in for Pappenhausen. He played good, then didn't finish, which is a bit weird to me. Then down the list, Nelson Sofa Solomon is going to get cheap at some point. Whether we pick him up is the question there. And then, yeah, Tanner Boyd. only played 8 minutes this game, scored 3 points. He'll get cheap as well. He's a bit of a fantasy unit. He struggled to sort of keep his spot in the first grade side, but as far as fantasy points, there is no question that he's a bit of a fantasy producer at the halfback and hooker spot. Now, this is a game I really enjoyed. So I was actually out at a wedding this night, but really interesting performance here from the Cowboys in particular. So they lost this game, but my two Cowboys players absolutely killed it. So Ruben Cotter, 83 points. Just an absolute mammoth performance here. So he scored the try, and he's about a 50 base in general. So when you throw the try onto that, where he ran through like 4 players, it was absolutely monstrous. I'm stoked to have him and also Reece Robson in my side, another 73 pointer. These two by themselves really boosted me up the rankings quite a bit. So I was very happy. With that, if you got those guys, enjoy. If you don't have Cotter yet, don't go buy Cotter now because of Origin coming up very soon. And for Robson's a hard one for me to make a call on with you here. He's a chance at making the Origin team. There's quite a few guys that could. So look, Damien Cook, Coruscant, Robson, maybe even Egan off the bench as well. So Robson's one of those guys. I wouldn't go buy him personally, but if you have him, hold on. Osako, he was on our pods list last week. Just thought the fixtures looked really good. He scored the 3 tries in this game, 70 points, 45.6 average. He was a 50 average last year. He's that guy in the Dolphins. I actually quite like him as a buy through the buy period, but it is so risky. So just keep that in mind. It could blow up in your face, but also could pay off. Drinkwater's another one. He's at a good price as well. Break even was 69 points, scored 58. He'll get a bit cheaper as well, so about 700k. If you can get Drinkwater, that is a safer option than Osako. Yeah, look, you're not getting a big discount on him, but he's a guy who tears up through the Origin period when everyone else is resting players. Dearden, Aitken, yeah, you and Aitken, he's a weapon at the back row spot. Looks like he's going to keep that spot. He's so expensive now, though, so what are you going to do? Marshall King's 47 points. Plath, he played a bit of edge as well. Real base stats sort of game, 46 points. I can live with that. Trey Fuller, he looked a little shaky under those high balls. I will say that. Been playing really good footy. So he's a good player, but I think they'll be happy to get Hamaso back pretty soon, especially since Trey is on an exemption to be playing here as well. So look, worth keeping an eye on. If you've got him in a draft league, hold on to him because he's such a gun. But for real classic fantasy, he's too expensive to buy. And if you got him, he's going to make the cash and you're going to hop off pretty soon. All right, down the list here. Val Holmes, quite a game. Thomas McKaylee, 35 points in 21 minutes. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. That is insane. I mean, the stat line here, 11 tackles, 2 tackle breaks, 3 offloads. You've got, I think it's a forced error and 57 meters. Yeah, look, if he's playing this week, I'm strongly considering this. I'm very, very strongly considering this. Look at those schedules, but the buy schedules, but that is a rock solid performance. If you want to go Finifuyaki to McKaylee, for example, make 200k. I actually really like that trade as well. All right, rolling down the list here, we've got Lukey played quiet minutes, so 29 minutes. He's going to get a bit cheaper as well. He might be a buy when he gets down to about 400k. So keep an eye on Lukey because we know what he can do, but at the same time, Finifuyaki's been killing it in that starting spot. Then we got the Knights and the Warriors. Fanua Blake keeps on rolling, 66 minutes, 61 points. Hastings is killing it too. Sean Johnson, 55 points, is solid. We've got Kai Pierce-Paul back to normal, 51 points here. A lot of you guys are on him. I'm jealous. I was jealous originally. I just couldn't make it work with Kai Pierce-Paul. And I think he's an absolute weapon. Grab best, he's averaged, I think it's about 48 points over the last, or maybe 50 points over the last month of footy. He's been absolutely killing it for you guys. And then Wade Egan, quite a game. Greg Marzu, 36 points. The 9 tackle breaks is good to see. And how many meters? 134 meters. This could be the beginning of a turnaround for Greg Marzu. So I'm looking at him for round 13. The Knights have a buy in round 12, but he's getting very cheap. He's already down 250k from his starting price. Why not, right? I mean, look, Ponga being out isn't ideal, but in general, very interesting. Brayley only played 49 minutes in this game, lost a lot of minutes to Phoenix Crossland, which is a disaster for us who bought him this week, including myself. That's tough. Armstrong, 26 points. He looked a little shakier, still a lot of energy in his performance, though. So, he's a young guy, right? It was very wet conditions. I wouldn't hold it against him, but there is that job security question for him. So just keep an eye on that as well. I'm probably not going to hop on Armstrong, just from my side. just because that job security is a little too dicey for me. And I've already got KO Weeks in that spot. And Chevy Stewart, who we'll see what happens there at Canberra as well. I just can't afford another one like that. Next one, Sharkies and the Dragons. And Tommy Eisenhuth, 78 points. What a monster. 66 tackles in this game, 66 meters. He loves the sixes, mate, this guy. And then Nico Hines, 72 points. Downdated a little bit. It was sitting at about 78 before. But hey, if you captain him, you're very happy. That's a great performance. A couple of try assists, but not an overly attacking sort of game. No tackle bust from him as well. Not the kick meters you'd expect normally to. I'm fine with 72 from Nico Hines, and that's why he is our captain every week. Little had a good performance. Nikora, we were pretty hyped on him. Again, he was 58-point performance here. Hazleton, mate, what a pod. What a pod. He has been racking up the cash too. Plus 200K. Scored another try. He's just a big boy, mate. He just keeps on scoring tries. So you're happy with that. Kyle Iro, 44 points. Look, you can't complain, right? Look at his stat line here. So he's got the line break, some tackle busts, but it's 170 meters, 17 tackles. He's just a base stat machine. And down the list here, Talakai had a better performance, scored the try. He was much more explosive in this one. Hame Sele, he got 50 minutes in this game. He's been getting pretty good minutes for St. George recently, so he's worth keeping an eye on if you do need a middle pretty desperately. If you're on Flanagan, definitely sell him soon. And yeah, no, look, those are the looks. Kennedy's going to be very cheap at some point as well, but do we want him is the question. Maybe through the Origin period if we got really desperate and you got really cheap, but probably not. Anyway, that is the recap for round 9. Hopefully it was a good week for you. Hopefully you rose in the rankings. To recap my side, I got a 954, I think it is, after the down dates. 954 points into about 850th rank for me. So hopefully you've done well too, and hopefully you're doing better than I am. See you in the next video.